What if your beliefs say one thing, but your body screams the opposite? This is the story of a woman who supports trans rights, but is worried that her own fear makes her a transphobe.
I need to admit something that feels incredibly difficult to say out loud. I'm worried that I might be transphobic. On one hand, my beliefs seem clear. Some of my closest friends are trans. I'm horrified by the political attacks on the trans community, and I find the rhetoric from anti-trans feminists to be hateful. I have no issue with trans women using the women's restroom, but that's where my certainty ends. The thought of being in a changing room with a trans woman I don't personally know creates a deep sense of unease. I don't think I could bring myself to get undressed in that situation. I also struggle with the idea of trans women being housed in women's prisons, though, to be clear, I don't believe they belong in men's prisons either. My conflict is centered specifically on trans women. As a lesbian who has been active in the queer community for over 15 years, I've met many trans women. So many of them are wonderful people for whom I feel immense sympathy because of the awful ways society treats them. However, I've also encountered a significant number who behaved in ways that felt predatory and unsettling. They viewed women with the same kind of hungry, entitled, and misogynistic idealization that I've seen from certain men, and it was deeply disturbing. My biggest question is, how am I supposed to tell the difference between someone who is safe and someone who isn't? I often hear people argue that no one would go through the process of transitioning just for a fetish. But then you can look at various online communities and see that, yes, people absolutely do extreme things to fulfill a fetish. People will literally eat themselves to death for their desires. Pursuing a fetish can be an incredibly powerful motivator. So again, how can I know for sure? Even setting that aside, I have to ask, would most women genuinely be okay with sharing a private changing space with a stranger who has male anatomy? I have such a visceral gut-level reaction against it, but whenever I see this topic discussed online, the overwhelming response seems to be supportive. It makes me feel like I'm going crazy. I truly want trans women to feel safe and accepted in the world, but at the same time, I feel like we're ignoring a reality. They are not the same as cisgendered women. They have a different life experience, having been socialized as male, and only a very small fraction of them ever undergo bottom surgery. If a group of people want to create a space that is exclusively for cis women, I genuinely don't understand why that is such a controversial issue. The vast majority of the queer community is incredibly accepting of trans people. They have access to almost every space. Why is it a problem if a single specific group wants to be for cis women only? I don't see the same level of outrage when it comes to trans men demanding access to all male spaces. Does this make me a lost cause? I'm not looking for hate. I recognize that my perspective is likely biased and has been shaped by my own trauma and fear of men. I just needed to get this off my chest. It feels like I'm caught in the middle of two extreme positions. On one side, you have people who seem to despise trans women, believing every single one is a dangerous predator. On the other side, you have the view that trans women are absolutely and completely women in every sense, and that we should eliminate single-sex spaces entirely. I don't feel like I belong in either camp, but the issue is so polarized, it feels like those are the only two viewpoints allowed.